I was sitting on a rock outside at Haven, and God's like, you won't even pray to me. Like, you won't even pray because you believe I just don't want to deal with you. That season was so sad, lonely, and dark. It was terrible. I was very freshly divorced, and I had 2 little girls on my own, and I was really just like brand new to the whole Jesus thing. So this whole like relationship with him was very new. I had a lot of worries and burdens that I was obviously carrying. What I believed to be true about God, about Jesus, was like, if you mess up, I will abandon you. I will leave you. Yes, like he's a loving Jesus, but you need to not do anything wrong or he's gonna bounce. That came from my marriage. That was like very much like the conditional love that I did experience was like, hey, like if you do all these things and you perform and all these boxes are checked off, we're good. But it was like if someone always moved a finish line back. Jesus was not anywhere in our story. So like the smallest little thing is irreconcilable, right? At the end of the day, there was nothing holding us together. Spent many, many, many days, weeks, months where I was like, the world is better if I am not in the world. Better people than me will take care of my kids, and then I'll just take the burden from their life, which is me, I'm the burden. What I carried with me from that was like, I'm just unlovable. I know I was projecting my human experience onto God, because like humans are so conditional sometimes with their love, and so I couldn't fathom the depth of God's love for me. I probably thought it would take a lot for him to leave me, but I thought he'd probably be mad at me a lot, and I wanted to shrink down as to, again, not be a burden to God. After the one day retreat, like I didn't really hear from God. I was discouraged, and I was still, now I know I was still believing a lot of lies. So I was like, well, I'm not surprised. God didn't want to talk to me. You know, he's probably mad at me or whatever. But I remember around the campfire at that retreat, Kelly had said something like, oh, and if you liked this, we're going to do for women this retreat. And I was like, that would be really cool. And so I applied to sign up for Encourage. And that's really like a turning point, like of my whole life. The first weekend, I was so excited for a lot of reasons, but I was like, everyone else will probably, you know, like I was just very like convinced, you know, in my own little way that I wasn't going to hear much. That weekend, I remember it was like, you're safe, was like what he kept telling me. Like, you're safe to share with these women. You know, you're safe and like physically safe. You're safe with me. When God does speak to me, I know it's him, because it's like his thoughts, it's like they fill my head, like, and they fill my brain, and it's nothing I would think, nothing I was thinking. You know, I wasn't asking him about safety. I wasn't asking him about anything really. I don't even know how to describe it, like opening my journal and having my pen spill out of thoughts that I knew were God was like the best feeling. I was like, I can't even believe that the creator of the universe wants to talk to me. Like, it was awesome. I was sitting on a rock outside at Haven, and God's like, you won't even pray to me. Like, you won't even pray because you believe I just don't want to deal with you. And it was really true. Like, there'll be times where like I would feel the word stop before I prayed, because I'm like, you know what? Like, he's sick of me. It's the same old prayer. It's the same old, you know, or these people don't want to hear my problems, and I'm just not going to tell anyone anything. Jesus broke that lie on that rock that day 2 of weekend 2, I will never forget it because just it felt like a flood of like his power like into my body of like confirmation of how much that he loves me. And it was like it was coming out of me in like tears and like screaming. I mean, it was like very raw, and I was very surprised by it too, because a lot of things I had suppressed for a long time were emotions also. So it was like just really it was like a wrestling with God, where it sounds funny to have to like wrestle with God to believe he loves you, but that's what he had to do with me. And it was almost like realizing maybe my love for him was conditional too. So that it was like that control. I wasn't giving him my whole heart. I wasn't giving him all my hurts and all my thoughts. I was just like, I'll give you some so that you'll like me. And I had come so far with God, but it was like, okay, but with people, this is still this tension. And I had to just like intentionally give them to God, like once and for all. And then I woke up the next day and I was like, do I feel heavy again? I was like, I don't. And then for like a month, I kept thinking I was gonna, wake up and is it gonna be there? And it just wasn't. And like that. And then I'm like, this is freedom. Like I tasted it before, I did, but this is like freedom. And then I felt like I was open for joy to flood in and like come out, overflow out. And like since then been absolutely living in an overflow. I do believe myself to be a fun mom now. But it's like that connection has deepened so much with me and my girls. And like, I've not only been able to teach them about God and, introduce them to reading the word. No, I have shown them life with Jesus. I'm so hopeful for my kids of like what he has for them. Even though I have no idea what my life is gonna look like even in like 2 or 3 months or tomorrow, but I just have this like expectancy inside of me, like God's doing something. And it just feels really exciting. And I feel like I can't wait to find out. I am so hopeful that God will continue to use me to like help people know him.